So you can start one by putting all the pieces together, and a lot of people have made a lot of money by doing that. And there's another way to do it, which is to find one that's already underway and simply parachute into the pilot seat. I have, over the last almost 50 years, done both. In the last 35 years, the vast majority of my businesses have all been businesses that I bought as opposed to built. So a way to think about this might be there's three ways to be in business. One way is you can work for one, and we all know what that's like. Most of us have had that experience. You have a steady income and a great training ground, and you have lots of certainty. But the negative is a somewhat low control over earnings and limited upside sometimes, and it's easy to lose some enthusiasm. Another way to be in business might be to start one. And usually that involves, okay, I've got some great idea. I've had an entrepreneurial seizure of some sort of this great idea. This is my passion and I'm all emotional about it. It's very exciting. It has tons of upside as I look at it and think about it. But yeah, starting a business has got some risk. And the biggest risk with most startups is, can the business get traction? Is the idea good enough, and can it be presented in a way to the right people with the right message so that they want to buy it? The big risk in starting a business is, if you build it, will they come? If you start a business, the financing is somewhat difficult. And it's easy for a startup to dissolve into a hobby. You know, the difference between a business and a hobby is a business makes money. There's a third way to be in business, and the third way to be in business is to buy one. And if you think about the difference between starting one and buying one, if you buy one, shoot, it's got customers and employees. It's got revenues and profits. It's got a track record and a brand. There's generally a 20-year veteran, 20-year plus veteran who's been flying this plane and who's willing to be your co-pilot for the next 3 to 6 months and teach you how to do it. If you buy a business, the financing is much easier than starting one. The skills, there are skills that it takes to be able to buy one. It's one of the reasons that I teach this course that I teach one time a year called How to Buy or Exit a Business. It takes me about 4 days to teach someone, here's the skills. And so today's presentation is not to teach you every single skill, but rather to introduce you to the concept and see whether or not this idea might be a viable choice for some of you. In general, buying a business is way less risk than starting one from scratch, but it does require an investor hat. You saw under the starting one, what's required there is very much of an operator hat. But what's required if you're going to buy one is more of an investor type hat. So if you think about it, with a business, in any business, there's a critical time. And the critical time is generally between startup and about 2 million in revenue. That's when once a business generally gets to 2 million in revenue, it's got enough mass to be able to withstand some headwinds and some bumps. And on average, that critical time takes about 5 years. That's the general time frame. So from startup to critical mass is about 5 years. And so that's the high risk time. If you buy a business, you're basically saying, let's skip the high risk time. Instead of incurring all the risks from startup to 2 million and the 5 years, let's just skip all that and just buy one that's already up and going.